and director of Dance Collection Danse, and she's a graduate of the National Ballet School and a former dancer with the National Ballet of Canada. She and her wonderful late husband, principal dancer Lawrence Adams, left the National Ballet in 1969 and taught the Lois Smith School of Dance. And here they gathered 15 other students to create the performance company, 15 Dancers, and subsequently 15 Dance Laboratorium, which were amazing, just amazing. And it was Toronto's first experimental dance venue, kind of like an edgy Toronto edition of New York, right?
Did you go there?
Yes. In 1974, they created Visis Foundation, established to videotape dance activity in Canada, and later the Arts Television Centre, which produced an arts cable television show called Nightlights, and taught artists how to use video to record their work. They were always cutting edge. The two of them, they were always just one step ahead of what was going on in the world. We all kind of later on went, "Duh, okay." They had already understood this. Then the Adams became publishers, producing a newspaper, Spill, and the Canadian Dance News. And in 1983, and again I remember this very distinctly, they initiated Encore, which was a reconstruction project designed to rescue Canadian choreographic works created in the 1940s and the 1950s. Again, incredibly innovative. This led to the founding of Dance Collection Danse, Canada's National Dance Archives, Research Centre and Publishing House, which has just moved. Our wonderful Miriam has received a Dance in Canada Service Award, a Mayor's Medal of Service, and with Lawrence, the Dance Ontario Award. In 2009, she won the Rita Davies and Margot Binhart Cultural Leadership Award, and she was appointed to the Order of Canada in 2012. Our very wonderful Miriam Adams.
It's funny because you just said everything. I've got notes because I always need speaking notes because they say you've got 3 minutes, Miriam. And if I don't put it in notes, I'll talk too much. And you just said everything that's in my notes. In 3 minutes. Yes, Lawrence and I were former dancers with the National Ballet. We became interested in Canadian theatrical dance history. Who knows why? Things sort of happen to you in your lives, and it seemed like an interesting subject to pursue. So this is a very long story. I'll keep it short. We raised some dollars from the Laidlaw Foundation, and we hired a researcher, a woman from Saskatoon, Sonia Barton, who had a ballet school there, which was also connected to the university, and she traveled across the country. She knew a lot of people, and she interviewed people, sort of folks, older folks, because we figured if we didn't get the stories before they died, we would never get the stories. So she did oral histories, and she came back to Toronto with shopping bags full of film and photographs and scrapbooks and correspondence, and that was kind of the beginning. After further research, we assembled some dancers and some contemporary dancers, and with the research, we reconstructed, as Carol said, some early Canadian choreographies that were made in the 40s and 50s. The composers were Canadian artists, and the set designers were also Canadian artists. And these were videotaped and notated. We used Benish notation and Laban notation, and we now have those scores. And then we produced a show for Expo 86 in Vancouver. It was called There's Always Been Dance, and it was a very short, it was a 40-minute sort of shtick. And we did like 5 of them a day, right? The audience would go out, and then a new audience would come. Anyway, it was very good to give people a quick overview of the history. We initiated a newsletter at that time so that we could fill folks in on the discoveries we were making, because we kept finding things. you know, there would be an old program, or that we, as a matter of fact, I'm not supposed to say this, but somebody put, we would go through the trash, somebody put boxes outside the CBC that had some old, we got a call, some old transcripts in them. And so we snuck down in the middle of the night, and they were going to go in the garbage anyway. So for many years it was a rescue mission, warning people not to throw things away. That's what we said, don't throw it away, we'll take it. And so the collection grew. In the early 90s we began to publish. We encouraged journalists and scholars and emerging writers to make books and magazine articles, and so we've is Susan McPherson here? Where's Susan?
Yes.
Susan McPherson was the editor of our dance dictionary and our encyclopedia, which was bilingual. But we've also, thank you very much, Susan. You did a great job, meticulous work. We also published memoirs and biographies and cultural histories, and we've made 39 books to date. We're going to hold for a while because selling books is bad business these days. It's not good. We also produce an annual magazine. And so basically we serve researchers from around the world. We curate live and virtual exhibits. We provide lectures and workshops for students and the public. We hold hundreds of thousands of documents and moving image recordings and oral histories and sets and props and costumes. Essentially, we're a museum. That's who we are. And we can say that we've carved out a place in the cultural history of the country for our dance artists to live on, because folks in the younger generations need to know what's happened in the past. Now, here's Amy Bowering. Our Director of Collections and Research, Amy Bowering, is a writer and a historian and a teacher, and she joined us in 1993 as a summer student. She never left, and we were totally dependent on her brain and her talent. She maintains stewardship of the collection and contributes her talents in every way to everything we do. Very bright young woman. And so, after 27 years of working out of my home, Dance Collection Danse finally moved to Church Street. We got a space on the 3rd floor of a building there. And thanks to George Restai, who identified the fact that the building was built in 1890. Yes, it was 1890. We were going to put a little history up on the wall. Anyway, we found a space with exposed brick walls like my old house had. And we moved in, and we've got offices for people, and there's room, and we have a little gallery where we can have exhibits and do lectures and invite the public, and so we can be more public with our work. We want to be essentially more well-known than we are. There are folks in the dance community who still don't know we exist because we're kind of quiet about our work. So we want this built. This is the best. This home was built in 1858, and the Canadian Lesbian and Gay Archives have done a beautiful job of it, and it's a joy to be here. So if we could find one of these, which thanks to Kyle Ray only cost $1, we'll take it.